Targum Obadiah, Obadiah 2, the second part. As discussed in this video, I want to talk about the relationship between Hebrew, Nun Tav Nun, and Aramaic Yod He Beit. Now in Biblical Aramaic for biblical interpreters, this is treated on page 119, where there is this chart showing that there's this same semantic range, the give idea, but there is a preference for when the perfect verbal aspect is being expressed for using Yod He Beit. Now the Targums are different in that they're translationese. They're taking Hebrew and rendering it into Aramaic, so there are some constraints on the usage of Targumic Aramaic that presumably don't exist with Biblical Aramaic. But what I want to know is there a perfect preference with Yod He Beit rendering Nun Tav Nun in Hebrew, as in this verse? So let's check it out using Accordance Bible software. You can see up here in the command line, I'm searching for when Aramaic uses Nun Tav Nun to render Hebrew Nun Tav Nun in the imperfect. 105 results come up. Let's change the search to perfect, and there are 115. So what we have found so far is when Nun Tav Nun appears in Aramaic, imperfect or perfect, it's basically the same distribution. Well, what about we have Yod He Beit show up in our text like we do in Obadiah 2? Is there an imperfect and perfect difference as far as the statistics go? Well, I've done this search, and there are only 18 Nun Tav Nun imperfects that are translated in Targum Jonathan with Yod He Beit. So now let's modify this to perfect. And look at this, 148. So this is interesting. Whenever the translator feels it appropriate to use Yod He Beit, it's going to be much more often perfect than imperfect renderings of Nun Tav Nun. When the translator selects Nun Tav Nun in the Aramaic, it's about the same between perfect and imperfect as far as distribution goes. So just what we have found using those simple searches is Yod He Beit, if it's going to show up, is much more often going to be perfect than imperfect, as it's translating the give idea in Hebrew. Interesting. Well, let's go back to our reading of Targum Obadiah.